and this is my fourth live stream today. So if you want to watch my other live streams, then you can go to my Instagram page, which is Marianne Hanson Counsellor, my other Instagram page, which is Coach Marianne Hanson. You can go to my Facebook page, Marianne Hanson, or my other Facebook page, Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. So this is the fifth. Oh yeah, I've gone live 4 times already. And because I don't really do live streams on my Instagram as much, or on my mainly I go live on my Facebook and on here occasionally, but I'm trying to increase the amount of live streams. One, because I enjoy the fact of people engaging with the topics, but also I tend to do different types of topics which are more like lengthy, but also have a bit more of a discussion element. So leave your comments if you want, and feel free to check out my other videos. So this is a topic that I've been saying I'm going to do for a while. It comes up a lot. I've touched on it a little bit. So I've made a video on here called something about dysfunctional families. I've made a video, I've got one in the process, which is about reconnecting with family. I've made videos talking about signs of just lots of things to do with dysfunction in families, basically. This one is called Dealing with Family Politics, and lots of people are going to be able to relate to this because I can relate to it. There's going to be things in here that are my own. I don't really say my own personal stuff too much, but I'll do general. But I know that there are going to be people out there saying yes, they're going to be nodding. So family politics happens in bigger families more, but it also can happen in smaller families. I think it happens probably in most families. If you are in a situation where your family functions really smoothly, where you've got good leadership, which is one of the things I'm going to talk about, and I mean that you have adults that are steering the ship in a way, parents that are steering the ship in a way that means they encourage, nurture, they motivate and inspire all the members of the family to get along in a particular way, that is rewarded, that bad behaviour is not tolerated, that there is a sense of the ethos of what we want our family to be like, then that would be brilliant and that goes really well. In most cases, in the majority of cases, there isn't that isn't there, and the politics can just be the same as in an organisation. If you've got a poor leader at the top, but also if you've got different dynamics of the staff team, that can really, really affect how the organisation flourishes or struggles. So I'm going to go through 6 things that I think have an impact on this family dynamics, family politics. And you can then consider if this applies to you and then what to do next. So the first thing is the roles that people play within a family unit. As I've said, bigger families, usually people take on different roles. So you might have the eldest is, the protector or the most dominant one in the family. Or it might be that the youngest is deemed as being the baby, so they don't have to do anything for themselves. Everyone rallies around them. They might be regarded, when they do make mistakes or when they do things in a particular way, people will be, oh, don't say anything to her, she's the baby, or she's the youngest, or make excuses for that person or whatever it is. How that can then impact on the rest of the family is that there is this protection then around certain people based on their role, and that's all it's about. So this ties in with the second one, which is about who has the loudest voice, who's the most dominant, who gets to tell the rest of the family how we behave. Now, in my family, there was 9. I've lost my sister, but so we've got 8 siblings. There's 8 of us, that are alive. There are so many different personalities in there. There are so many different roles that people play. Someone tries to come in as the hero. Someone steps in as the mediator. Someone steps in as stirring the pot. Someone else steps in as they're not getting involved if there's anything to do with organising things. Another person always organises everything, takes over. You've got the controlling person. You've got the ones that just sit quietly. You've got the ones that take sides. It's a whole, like I said the other day, sometimes navigating my family dynamic is a whole headache in itself. And thank God I'm a counsellor, because there's times where I'll just sit back and think, do you know what? I can see what's going on here, but I'm not going to play a role in this. Or do you know what? I don't need this drama. I'm staying away from it. Or do you know what? I'm going to confront this. So I think understanding the roles within your family is the first step towards making a solution to what's happening. So this person who's probably the most dominant, they can sometimes persuade other people of what direction to go in when it comes to making decisions. And sometimes you just have to accept it. You have to say to yourself, which I've done a few times, if a particular person in my family has got that power or feels they have to persuade another person about me or persuade them about a decision, leave them to it, you know. And that also tells me about the person who's being persuaded. You know, if you're weak-minded enough to be persuaded by someone else's words, then that's fine as well, you know. And I think it's about accepting that there are different roles in the family units, accepting that there are people who are more dominant in family units, and not taking it personally, but just sort of accepting. It's taken me years to accept certain personality types within my family unit. And the minute I did that, it was like a relief, because I knew that, okay, that's the sarcastic one. That's the one that I'm not going to go to and tell anything to because they're blabbermouth. You know what I mean? They won't keep a secret. That's the one that is more sensitive. That's the one that listens more. That's the one that goes into a mood and stops speaking to you for no reason, ghosts you and you don't know why. That's the one who's good company and good to be around. There's two. All I do is identify and then accept. So the third thing you have to think about is personality clashes. This causes a big issue in family politics. And the key thing, it's similar to what I've literally just said. Once you accept that just because you're family and you are linked by blood, to me, my family is my family, and no matter what I say, or no matter what I do, or no matter what I think or feel, they're still my family. So I'm not going to allow anyone else to say anything bad about them, even if I don't speak. Say if I fell out with a member of my family, it doesn't mean that like a friend can step in there and start going, yeah, I've always thought this person. No, you're not going to talk badly about my family. Just because we might have different personalities, I'm fine with that. I think what we've got to try to accept sometimes is we might have the same parents, you know, within our family, but we don't have to think alike or be alike. We're still individual human beings with different experiences. We still grow and develop in different ways. So rather than having these personality clashes all the time where you're trying to get that person to see things from your point of view, where you're trying to say, why can't you be more like this one? Or why can't you be like my sister or my brother? Or why are we so alike? You don't have to figure it out. You just have to accept we're different. We've got different personalities. We're from the same mum and dad, but we just think differently, and that's okay. You know, it doesn't mean that we're any less family because we just think differently. It just means it will save these personality clashes. A lot of family dynamics and family politics is where people are trying to persuade another person to think like them, to feel like them, act like them, to be like them. You don't have to. Just because you're family doesn't mean you all have to act and behave the same way or think the same way. And that comes on to the number 4, which is about free thinking. You have to get to a point where you're a family unit, but you have to think as an individual. And that can be tough. That is probably one of the toughest things to do, especially in big family units, because you can be ostracized, you can be isolated, you can be mocked. You know, who does that person think they are? They think they're better than us because they don't think like we do. Why does that person separate themselves from the rest of us? You know, maybe they don't want to be around us. We're going to isolate or exclude that person because their thinking isn't the same as the family, the way that we all think. That is tough. So you have to make a decision. Are you willing to sacrifice, you know, that side of things? Because are your beliefs strong enough that you're going to say, you know, I'm really passionate about this and I want to think like this and I want to make these decisions for myself. I don't care if like mum and dad are going to not be happy with me not going to law school. You know, I don't care if my sister is going to think of me in a particular way. I'm not saying this about me. This is just examples. So, yeah, you just have to sometimes be a free thinker and say to yourself that you are a member of a family unit. but never forget that you are still an individual. And I think that's just always been me, whether I've been a part of a staff team, whether I've been when I was studying to be a counsellor, and I remember, if I spoke out and I gave my opinion, then that's my personal opinion. I'm not just going to go with the rest of the class because everyone else thinks a certain way. So you have to just become that type of person, especially when you're in a family dynamic where there's lots of games, lots of messing around. I think I said the other day at one point, a few months ago, being in my family, it's like a game of chess. So one day, which I'll come on to it now, one day you're the flavour of the month. People are like, yeah, this person is really valued. You feel valued within the family. And the next month, no one's talking to you, and you don't know why. And then people are looking at what have you got to give. Your value is that sometimes it's based on, what gifts this person's going to give me, how much money I can borrow this week. And then when you say no to that, then we're going to just ignore this person for a little bit, or it's because this person's talking to this one in the family too much, then that's made me feel left out. And then there's so it's so like, and it can become exhausting. But what you have to realize is, if you can become flavour of the month, do you want to be flavour of the month? I don't want someone to say that my favourite flavour of ice cream this month is chocolate, which it's horrible, but anyway, chocolate ice cream this month. And then you're eating it and everything's fine, and everyone thinks everything's fine, and then your people are going out and buying you that ice cream, and then all of a sudden you say, what are you buying me this for? I want vanilla. And in some families it can be like that. You're getting along with your sister or your brother or your parents and everything's going fine, and you think everything's cool between you, you're connected, and then all of a sudden they've stopped talking to you. You don't get messages anymore. They talk to you in a different way. I said on Facebook a few months ago, I think I said it, I was noticing that certain people in my circle I wrote the words that certain people in my circle are being icy towards me, or frosty. And I said, it's not to do with the weather. And what I was alluding to really is that, people that I would normally had really strong connections with leading up to Christmas, and they were all like, I love you, and they were like saying so much, and it felt connected. Then after Christmas they were completely different, and I still don't know, there's still a few little people, but I'm getting there because I'm investigating it. But it's back to this thing of what, and it can be really hurtful, not for me, but as a person, if you think, what have I done? Why is this person, being like this? Is it something that someone has said to them? Is it something that, do they just don't want to connect with me? So that can really have an impact on family, on how you feel within that family. So the final thing really is what I said at the beginning of this video, which is about the leadership. A leadership of a company, leadership of a business, leadership of a family is so important. The leaders are the people who set the ethos. How is our family going to function as a unit? Not just when we're together as a family, but when we go out into the world. So some families where you just see them together and they're a well-oiled machine. The way that they behave when they're together in public, the way that anyone sees them, they can see that they're a unit because of how they interact. There's no disrespect. You can tell that mum, dad and their children, they're close. They know what's going on. They know the boundaries. You can tell just by the interactions physically that they're a close family. You can tell how they function. It's just beautiful to see. So if the person at the top has not got the energy or the time, the motivation or the inclination to put that work in to make this a well-oiled machine, and it starts when the children are young, then once they become adults, it's just a free-for-all. And I know I'm not saying my family's like that. I'd say my family, as I've talked about, there's some dominance, there's some gameplay, and there's some personalities, but we handle it because we are all adults, we can handle it. But I think in some families, when it becomes like a toxic situation where parents are not addressing toxic behaviour, where parents are not getting involved, the amount of parents that just say, look, I'm not getting involved with that, or where parents are taking sides. They're saying, this is my favourite child, so favourite child can't do any wrong, or where parents are not even doing the basics. They're not even doing the basic parenting because they're stepping away from it and saying, I don't want anything to do with this. There's all these siblings. There's too many people to handle. Leave them to it. So you have children bringing up children. You have siblings making decisions about their siblings, you know, because the mum is opting out. You have, or dad is. So in that situation, family politics then can just become chaotic because you're there stuck in your role and you're trying to have this wonderful relationship with your family members, but it's just not happening because no one's taking the reins. No one is saying, what's going on, you two sisters? You haven't spoke for ages. Or what's going on with you two brothers? You're always clashing. You know, it's things like that. There has been situations in my family where brothers have not been either talking to each other for months on end, or when they've seen each other, they've actually nearly got physical and things, and none of the parents have stepped in. None of my parents, the parents haven't stepped in and just said something about it. Or you'll tell the parent, do you know what's going on with these two? They're always fighting with each other. It's embarrassing at times because even at get-togethers they're doing this, and the parent will just be, they're adults, let them sort it out. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're adults and they can sort it out, but as a mother, do you know, don't you want to at least whisper in your son's ear, or don't you even want to get your two sons together? You know, it's that thing of take on the role. Don't fear for confront the role as a parent. Confront that role. If there's difficulties, don't be fearful to say, do you know what, I'm going to sort this out, or I'm going to try to, or I'm going to intervene. I'm going to get involved, you know. So family politics is a major thing that affects not only the clients that I work with, it can affect anyone. And all you can really do about it is to identify what the things I've said. Identify the roles within the family. What role do you play? What role do other people play? Think about the people who have more dominance, the people who can persuade others, the people whose voice is always louder, and try to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Try to maybe talk to them about this. You might say, do you know what, you're very controlling in some situations and it really affects how other people in the family feel. You know, or do you know what, I know that you have a lot to say on this topic, but let's so-and-so talk about it. So you could try that way. Think about personality clashes. Why are you clashing with particular people within the family, and how you can accept their personality without it becoming a battle. Think about the leadership of your family. You know, if there are things that you need from your parents and you need them to step in and do, then think about communicating that to them. Or if you know that nothing's going to change because that's how they've always been, then that's another thing to accept. And then what you may need to do is take leadership in the role whenever you can. So you might need to just step in. If two sisters are not speaking, you step in and you maybe do a little intervention. Or, you know, if the parent isn't giving the reassurance and the support to someone, you could do that. Free thinking, just be yourself, recognise yourself as an individual and know that, yes, you're a family unit, but you're also an independent individual person. And finally, just don't get caught up on this idea of, yes, you're flavour of the month and you have value. You still have value even if, say, someone isn't talking to you. You still have value even if you don't have money to give or gifts to give. You still have value regardless. So instead of wanting to be flavour of the month or trying to figure out what's gone wrong, then just accept that you have your own self-worth outside of what anyone else is doing or saying. So I hope you found this video useful. I know some people join me on the live stream. I really appreciate it, but you can also leave your comments. You can also share this because someone might want to hear it. And I will try and go live probably every few months to a month. I will upload my normal videos on a Monday on here and also on a Thursday. Mondays are just book reviews. Thursdays are my normal videos that I upload. So you can check out them. And I'll see you all soon. Have a great day. Bye. Thanks for joining. Bye.